How's it going, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to my channel, The Cosmic Wonder, where we talk about all things Marvel and everything relating to the MCU. And today we have an awesome rumor. I mean, a truly amazing rumor concerning the X-Men and the Avengers and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, this is something that we've been waiting for a very long time now. We've had the X-Men universe over at Fox, and then we've had the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of course, at Marvel Studios. But now they're both one. The X-Men are coming to the MCU, and they'll be making appearances pretty soon. And it sounds like a little later on in the Marvel Cinematic timeline, they won't exactly be getting along. As today we have a report that says there's going to be an Avengers versus X-Men film later on down the line. And this is supposed to come after an Avengers Secret Wars film. And both of these films are expected. Secret Wars is basically going to be the next Avengers Endgame. And ever since it was announced that Disney now has the rights to the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and other characters from Fox, everybody has at least thought one time Avengers versus X-Men. A truly amazing event in the comics and something that everybody would love to see on screen, and it sounds like we're going to get to see it. So we'll talk about this report, what Marvel's plans are for an Avengers versus X-Men film, and what their plans are for a Secret Wars film. And not to mention the fact that Magneto is going to be coming to the MCU and play a huge role in this. So let's break it all down, but first, if you're new, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on everything relating to the MCU, and so you can enter my weekly giveaway for a chance to win a Spider-Man Far From Home Funko Pop. Giveaway ends next Monday. All you gotta do to enter is subscribe, like the video, and comment about the video down below. So this is coming from Mikey Sutton. Over the weekend, he released a lot of information of things that he's heard about future Marvel Studios projects. And one of those things that he has mentioned before was Avengers vs. X-Men that he dropped on Lords of the Long Box's YouTube channel. Now, what's really interesting about this is that way back in 2015, Mikey mentioned that Fox could be doing an Avengers vs. X-Men film with Marvel Studios. He talked about Marvel and Fox playing nice with each other and cooperating to make a film. But now, of course, Marvel Studios owns all of those rights to those characters. So they can do it all themselves now, and it sounds like that is their plan. Mikey says that an Avengers vs. X-Men film is going to follow a Secret Wars film. Now, we've talked about that many times on this channel before. That is what everything over the next 10 years is going to lead up to. The event is going to be just like Avengers Endgame, but it's actually going to be even bigger. How do you top Avengers Endgame? You do Avengers Secret Wars. How do you top Avengers Secret Wars? You do Avengers vs. X-Men. Mikey says that it's claimed that both Magneto and Dr. Doom's presence in the MCU will gradually be acknowledged, as Kevin Feige wants to put Magneto on the back burner for a while due to being used by Fox. But Kevin Feige has plans for Magneto that are bigger than anything Fox has ever done before. And to touch on this real quick, this makes perfect sense because Magneto is one of the greatest Marvel characters ever. He's great as a villain, he's great as an anti-hero, the stories that he has are simply amazing. But unfortunately, the last handful of X-Men films that we've had haven't really done that well, especially the latest one, Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix was a catastrophic disaster, and it had Magneto in it, so it would make sense that Kevin Feige would want to hold off a little bit. But despite that, Kevin Feige does have huge plans for Magneto in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sutton says Feige's plans are said to include that eventually Magneto will be the primary figure in the Secret Wars film when we finally get it. It's said that Magneto will be viewed as a big bad initially, but in the Secret Wars movie, Magneto will lead the charge against Dr. Doom, producing an epic fight between the two, which will melt IMAX screens worldwide. It's said that Magneto, once an object of distrust, wins over the hearts and minds of the X-Men, and he'll lead the X-Men team against Dr. Doom. Now, in one of the Secret Wars storylines, Dr. Doom is a villain, so it seems like Marvel's going to stick true to one of those storylines. And in the original story, the X-Men and the Avengers, as well as some other Marvel characters as well, were a part of Secret Wars. So it's truly going to be an Avengers Endgame event, but with more characters, if you can even believe that. We'll have the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four, along with some other characters as well. So the question is, after you do Secret Wars, how do you top that film? And the answer that's being reported here is Avengers vs. X-Men. It's said that Magneto, with the mutants at his side except for Professor X and Wolverine, will set up Avengers vs. X-Men. And I can tell you, based off of what we've currently seen in the MCU and based off of what the story is in the comics, how exactly Secret Wars is going to play out and how it's going to set up the Avengers vs. the X-Men. Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, has already mentioned that the future of the MCU is a cosmic future. That means during Phase 4 and Phase 5, they're going to introduce in some way or form cosmic entities. We've kind of already had a few mentioned actually. In Doctor Strange, Mordo mentions that his staff is the staff of the Living Tribunal. The Living Tribunal is a cosmic being that maintains balance across the multiverse. And in fact, the writers of Avengers Endgame said that they wrote a scene in Avengers Endgame where Doctor Strange makes Thanos go face to face with the Living Tribunal to face Judgment. Now, obviously that was scrapped, we never saw it in Avengers Endgame, but clearly there are plans for them to introduce these cosmic beings in the future. And in Secret Wars, the Beyonder, a cosmic being, gathers together heroes and villains, and he takes the heroes and the villains and he teleports them all against their will to a distant planet. That planet is called Battleworld. Now, the Beyonder created the Battleworld and he stocked alien weapons and technology on the planet. And once all of the heroes and the villains are there, he says, "I am from beyond. Slay your enemies and all that you desire shall be yours. Nothing you dream of is impossible for me to accomplish." Now, there's two major things that happen that we need to know for the future of Secret Wars and Avengers vs. X-Men. One thing that happens is that while all of the heroes are kind of fighting together to fight the villains, the X-Men choose to remain a separate group. They fight the villains, but they kind of fight them on their own, separate from the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and several other heroes. And the other major thing that happens is Doctor Doom would go on to temporarily steal the Beyonder's powers, and he would be in charge of Battleworld. Now, based off of this recent rumor, it sounds like this is the direction that Marvel Studios plans to go. If Magneto is going to lead the X-Men against Doctor Doom in Secret Wars, it sounds like Doctor Doom is going to be the big bad, just like he was in Secret Wars. Now, we can assume that the X-Men, along with all of the other heroes, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and anybody else, are going to eventually defeat Doctor Doom and any other villain that stands in their way. What happens after that? Well, with the X-Men coming to the MCU, there's something else that will be coming to the MCU as well. The Phoenix Force. The Phoenix Force plays a very important role with the Avengers vs. the X-Men. And without recapping the entire Avengers vs. X-Men series, this is essentially what happens. The Avengers and the X-Men realize that a threat is coming, the Phoenix Force, and they realize that it's coming for Hope Summers. They start to disagree and eventually begin to fight on how to handle Hope Summers, as some think that they should kill her, while others don't think that. Some of the Avengers, including Thor, try to stop the Phoenix Force in space, but they are defeated. So Iron Man and Giant Man prepare a disruptor weapon to kill the Phoenix. They use it on the Phoenix Force, but instead of killing it, the blast separates it into fragments, which bond with Cyclops, Emma Frost, Namor, Colossus, and Magic. These 5 characters that get possessed with the Phoenix Force would go on to be called the Phoenix 5. The Phoenix 5, with basically unlimited power due to the Phoenix Force, would go on to reform the world according to their will, providing free energy, food, and water to all humanity, as well as ending armed conflicts around the globe. The Avengers are then summoned to the White House, and they agree that the Phoenix 5 must be stopped. A huge war breaks out between the Avengers and the X-Men, and Wakanda gets destroyed in the process when Namor with the Phoenix Force attacks it. But eventually, the Avengers and the X-Men would end up joining forces to stop the Phoenix 5. And this is probably somewhat of a similar story that we'll get in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll have Avengers Secret Wars, which will probably put a rift between the Avengers and the X-Men. Then the Marvel Cinematic Universe will introduce the Phoenix Force, and this will cause an even bigger rift between the Avengers and the X-Men, and this will be where they kind of start to have conflict with another. Eventually, the Phoenix Force will arrive, and it will end up possessing someone or multiple people, and this is where the big war will most likely happen. But then, of course, as the Avengers and the X-Men are divided, they will end up coming together to stop the Phoenix Force. And the great thing about having the mutants and the Phoenix Force in the MCU is we've never seen it on screen with anything but just the X-Men. Now that they exist in the same universe, we could even see some Avengers get possessed by the Phoenix Force. So for those of you who are worried that Marvel Studios can't top what they did for Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, don't worry, Marvel's got some plans up their sleeves, and it's definitely not going to disappoint at all. There's so many stories that they could do, and the Russo brothers have even expressed interest in coming back to direct at Marvel Studios if there is a Secret Wars film. So it sounds like not only are we going to be getting Secret Wars, Avengers vs. X-Men, but the Russo brothers could be returning as well. So this is super exciting news. Let me know what you all think about this, and what would you like to see from an Avengers vs. X-Men film. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on everything relating to the MCU. For live updates, you can follow me on Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.